Hi, I'm Charlotte Smith here with BladenOnline.com. Thank you for joining us. We salute our men and women in armed forces. November holds Veterans Day, and we wanted to start a series to honor our Bladen County veterans and to hear their stories. So I sat down with Ed Tatum, who served in the United States Army. He's a businessman in Lumberton, North Carolina. He also sings in the Wilmington Celebration Choir. He's friends with Karen Peck in New River and many others. As I sat down with Mr. Tatum, I heard about his life before his business and before his friendship with Karen Peck in New River. He told me about his service to our country, and he explained what it was like to serve the tomb of the unknown. Thank you for joining me today. Now, we just had Veterans Day on Sunday, November 11th, and you are a veteran, is that correct?
That is correct.
What branch did you serve in?
I served in the United States Army, and I was drafted into the Army. In fact, I won the draft lottery.
Oh, really?
They had the draft lottery in 1971, and my number was 18.
Number 18.
Yeah. So I was drafted into the Army in 1971, November of 1971.
Okay. And so I know that you were in the Old Guard. Is that correct?
That is
so
correct.
What did that consist of as far as your duties?
Okay. Actually, when I was in boot camp in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, we fell out in one morning in company formation, and they asked were there any volunteers for the Old Guard in Washington, D.C., and I always heard don't volunteer for anything in the Army, so I wouldn't volunteer. And it just so happened my drill sergeant was standing next to me that morning. He said, "Tatum, raise your hand. This is for duty in Washington, D.C." And so I raised my hand, and 32 of us in the company, there was about 120 in the company, and 32 of us volunteered because they said you had to be between 6 foot and 6'4" to volunteer. And out of the 32 that volunteered, they picked 2 of us, me and a guy from South Carolina, John Kaler.
Okay.
And we went to a special AIT training in Virginia.
So what is the Old Guard?
The Old Guard is the 3rd Infantry, and they're the Presidential Honor Guard unit. We do several different activities that go on in Washington, D.C. The first year that I was there, I was in the Old Guard, and I was on the funeral details. I was also on a drill unit.
So I know with being on the Old Guard that you also helped with presidential proceedings like speeches and funerals and stuff. Did you ever meet any of the elected officials like the president or?
When I was in the Old Guard, I went to President Nixon's inauguration balls. I went to 3 of those, and I was fortunate enough, I shook hands with Miss Nixon and her daughter Tricia Eisenhower. We also did the funeral details for Arlington Cemetery, and I had the honor of being a pallbearer for Colonel William Nody, who was the last soldier to die in Vietnam. He was the last casualty in Vietnam. He died like a couple of hours before the truce was signed, and he was buried on February the 5th, 1973, and I had the honor of being a pallbearer there for him. I was also at General Haig's retirement. No, I'm sorry, his induction, General Haig's induction, I was at General Omar Bradley's 80th birthday party with Bob Hope at the La Flotte Plaza in Washington, D.C. So there was a lot, and I was on the World War I drill team, and every Wednesday night we performed Salute to America at the Jefferson Monument.
Nice. Well, I know that's not the only elite thing that you have been involved with. My family and I watched the movie The Unknowns, which we purchased on Amazon Prime, and you were featured in that movie.
Yes, I was.
So
I was very honored.
Yeah,
Ethan Morris he's a tomb guard, former tomb guard, and he was the producer of that movie. And I was asked to go to Arlington and they interviewed me for the unknowns, and it was a big honor.
Can you tell us who and what the tombs represent and who you stood guard over?
Yes, I can. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, in fact, on the 11th hour, 11th day of 2000, I'm at 1921, I'm sorry. That's when the World War I soldier was buried in Arlington Cemetery, the unknown soldier. So you have an unknown soldier for World War I, you have an unknown soldier for World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Now, one thing about the Vietnam unknown soldier, that he was found later through DNA who that soldier was.
Right.
And so they asked him, they narrowed it down to two different soldiers, and both families wanted the soldier exhumed so they could find out if that was their son. And so the body was exhumed, and it was found out who the soldier was. And his family wanted him buried back in his home state, and he was. And so the Vietnam crypt is empty, but there's still an honor there to honor those that died unknown in Vietnam.
Right. So as I was watching the movie, it did say that it would probably stop with the Vietnam War because of the technology now that we should be able to know, the casualties so that we can inform those families. But the Sentinels protect or stand guard over the unknowns from World War I, World War II, and the Korean War.
Correct.
And they're keeping the Vietnam War
Crypt
memorial
there also
as well. So what years did you stand guard for the unknown?
Okay, I went into the Army in 1971, and in 1973 is when I went to the Honor Guard, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And that is, you have to volunteer for it. And I volunteered for it, and then you have to go through a series of workouts and tests and stuff like that, and then they decide whether you are the person for that type of duty. And I was fortunate to be able to pass all the tests and everything. In fact, they sent a FBI agent to my hometown to check out some of the people that I had been employed with, and one of my teachers in high school.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, they said
Miss
that
Willette
it was
Gooden,
rigorous.
as a matter of fact, is who the FBI agent went. She was my English teacher.
Who's that?
Miss Willette Gooding.
Oh, okay.
They interviewed, and Mr. Urban Mann. I had a part-time job with him
What school?
at Mann's Elizabethtown High School.
And at who was your boss?
Urban Mann at Mann's department store.
Oh, okay. In
Which is
Elizabethtown.
not anymore.
Right.
Yes,
It used to be in Elizabethtown.
Right.
Oh, that's neat. So there are 5 to 7 million visitors that visit the tombs of the unknown each year, and there has been a guardsman that actually was shot and killed, not in America but in England, guarding the unknowns. Was there ever a time that you felt threatened on duty?
No, I never felt threatened.
Do you maintain contact with anyone that you served with?
Yes, I do. In fact, we have a Honor Guard Society, which is made up of past Sentinels and current Sentinels. And when you are assigned to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, you are given a badge number. And my badge number is 134. So I was the 134th soldier to receive a badge. And as of today, there are at like 655 badges been awarded to soldiers that guarded the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Now, one thing that the Society of the Honor Guard is working towards is in 2021 will be the 100th year anniversary of the World War I soldier that was entombed at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And we're trying to make a nationwide observance at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 2021, where there's a national recognition and a moment of silence for all the soldiers that died unknown in all the wars.
So how could citizens in this nation help recognize that individual in the unknown
Okay,
tomb?
we're getting up with different groups of people, and it'll be televised nationally, I'm pretty sure, on the news and all. And also we're planning for individuals to contact their churches and their businesses and stuff for people to recognize this 11th hour, the 11th day in 2021. And hopefully, what would be nice if the church bells could ring. You know, we have
Right.
the church bells in our town that could sound the chimes off at 11 o'clock. That would be great, you know.
So is there anything that you would like to say to our readers on how to better observe veterans and honor them?
Well, one thing about our town is that we do honor our veterans and stuff. My daddy was a World War II veteran, but what we ask the people is, and there'll be more detail coming about this, about the observance of the unknown soldier of World War I on 2021, year 2021.
Okay. If you are interested in laying a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown, you can do that.
Yes, you can.
You can apply to do that.
You can get online and go to Arlington Cemetery. They have a site, and it usually takes like 3 to 4 months ahead of time because there are a lot of wreath laying ceremonies that go on there.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for your time and your service to our country and our community. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for the interview.
Thank you. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit bladenonline.com for more information.